Now, this statistic might have you splattering on your cornflakes. A recent survey revealed that nearly half, 44% of over 65-year-olds claim that their favourite pastime is having sex. And perhaps thanks to an outdated sexual education curriculum back when they were at school in the 50s, that same survey also showed that STIs were on the rise, that's sexually transmitted diseases and infections, were on the rise in the very same age bracket. More people over 65 are getting STIs than anyone who's younger. So, to try and help the over 65s practice safer sex, Relate have created a series of vegetable-themed condom packet designs under the banner of the Horticultural Society. You did say horticultural, didn't you? I said horticultural. Horticultural. Can the nation's passion for plants help break down taboos, and should the over 65s be given sex education lessons?
Well, you wouldn't think they would need it, would you? They shouldn't at 65, goodness me.
This is a very good idea because obviously a lot of people more people getting divorced nowadays.
Oh my goodness me. I say I have no use for them.
There is also a bit of an assumption that after the menopause it doesn't really matter.
Firm and ripe. I'm a little old for that.
Never too old. Nope.
Joining us now, agony aunt Caroline Buchanan, who thinks this is a great idea, and journalist Cosmo Landesman, who says the new condoms are silly and not many people are interested. Cosmo, apparently you're wrong. Lots of people are interested over 65.
Well, people over 65 are very interested in sex, but I don't think they're interested in sex and vegetables. I think the problem with this campaign is we have too much education and not enough sex. I want more sex, less education. And you must remember that every older person is really just a younger person who grew old.
OK, but Cosmo, the issue is...
constant messages... Hold on.
What I was going to say...
The message that we need to practice safe sex is one we've done.
OK, but the thing is, the more sex can mean more risk of STIs. That's the problem, isn't it?
Well, yes, that's true. More sex. But by the way, it's only sex with people that practice certain types of sex. It's people who have sex without condoms or with new partners whose sexual history they don't know anything about. So that group is of a higher risk. But, you know, life is always full of a bit of a risk. You can't have a complete life without any kind of worries or whatever. So you've got to take that gamble occasionally.
I agree with that. I agree we have to live with risk. I'm in your corner there. But, I mean, I think the issue, we were discussing it with our GP on the programme earlier, is that because over 65s know there's no question of anyone getting pregnant, it doesn't occur to them to use a condom because it doesn't occur to them that there's any risk. That's the problem, and that's why these things are being introduced. So it makes a kind of sense, doesn't it, surely?
Well, no, not really. Why we should be thankful that people over 65 are having sex instead of trying to make them anxious and neurotic. Most people over 65 sex will have nice sex, and that will be the end of the story. You don't need to instill fear in them and you always have to wear a condom. Who wants to wear a condom when they're having sex?
See, that's the point. The figures are showing that it's not the end of the story. Some of them are having to trot down to the GPs and get antibiotics because they've got an infection. All right, let's talk to Caroline. You think it's a good idea, don't you? Caroline, you think it's a good idea, don't you?
I think very, very good idea. I think it's a wonderful idea. And get down to your garden centres now. Please do.
Well, OK, Cosmo says that everything comes with a risk. Should sex be in the same category?
Absolutely not. There's lots of other risks you can take. You might fall in love with somebody totally unsuitable, but at least you can protect yourself from STIs. And don't forget, by insisting your partner wears a condom, you know, you're protecting yourself and your partner. It's a kind thing to do, apart from anything else.
In your experience, why do you think that over 65s, and as I say, 44% of them, getting on for half, say that sex is still really important? Because that goes against all the shibboleths, doesn't it, and all the assumptions that as we get older we lose interest in having sex. It's clearly the absolute opposite.
But as we know, the 60's the new 40, 70's the new 50, etc., etc., etc. And people will be carrying on having a lovely time. And I know people in their 90s having a whale of a time sexually. So, and we all feel so much younger. So, you know, but I think it's essential that people look after themselves and each other. You can have a lovely time and not get an STI.
Cosmo, it's just a mark of respect, consideration and love for the person that you're feeling for.
Exactly. And kindness.
But a mark of respect and consideration for the person you love is to be in a relationship where you know their sexual history, you have an intimacy with them, and you know they haven't had like a million partners, and it's quite safe to have unprotected sex with them. That's the best thing to do.
Would you rather they got tested?
Hold on, let me just make this point. No, I don't want. No, I don't. You know, in certain circumstances, if you're with a partner you don't know anything about and their sexual history, of course you want to have them tested. But what a way to conduct your sex life! What a terrible, medicalized, fearful view of sex and life.
Well, I have to say, there speaks the authentic voice of the 1960s. That was absolutely terrific.
Cosmo,
yes, that's
Caroline,
right. A great era for sex.
That's true. I think it was wasn't it the decade that sex began? The 1960s. That's what was said at the time, anyway.